An anime that can finally recreate the esports scene. I know it's been a long time coming for a lot of esports fans, but China has finally released this awesome anime that actually does everything right about esports. And maybe finally it could recreate a moment just like Double F's Pentakill. But for real, the King's Avatar, the anime that we're going to be talking about, is really good. I've watched it multiple times and I've actually wanted to rewatch it again now, because the anime is just that great. It shows how esports is in real life and it recreates it to the T. Even in the amateur league, they actually do a really good job of how it actually is to recruit talent and how to create a team and how to get a sponsor. And the anime just does everything right. Sure, it's made in China. Sure, it's not actually an anime because it's not made in Japan, but Japan is not going to make an esports anime anytime soon. That region has not had success in esports besides Smash Bros. And the big ones that have actually had success, which is China, Korea, Europe. NA is kind of trash at any other esports besides FPSs, especially League of Legends. But it makes sense that China made this anime. Sure, it's not officially an anime due to it has to be in Japan, but since China is a region that's had success in esports and knows how it is to go up from amateur to pro leagues, it makes sense that China made this. They have the skill to make an anime, and they obviously recreated it almost to the point where it's damn well, I might as well just be seeing the real thing. But still, this anime, I believe, is at least an 8 out of 10. It's great. It's rewatchable. It has moments that really are memorable, and it recreates the scene really well. Since the beginning of the story, sure, it's a bit rushed since they did have a movie after the season 1 that is a prequel, which shows the story how it's supposed to be told. But in season 1, it tells you the whole background that Yi, I'm not gonna say his full name because I'm going to butcher it, but I'm gonna put it on the screen. He starts off as the beginning of the pro league is starting up, and he has success and wins 3 championships. I believe it is 3. I don't know if it's 2 or 3, but it wins 3 championships in 3 years in a row. Sounds a little bit like the SKT era for League of Legends, but let's just keep going. They win 3 championships, but eventually the team just starts slowly declining. It doesn't really reach finals as much. It doesn't even get to playoffs as much. It's slowly losing steam, and the boat is pretty much crashing. And they blame it on the captain, which is Yi. And they say, well, Yi, you're getting a little old. You're around 27. We want you to just be on the bench and be a trainer / scrimmage partner for these players. And we're gonna have your backup step up for you since he is younger and they think he's more talented. And Yi does not want to be some just training partner, and he doesn't just want to be on the bench. So he says, well, terminate my contract. I don't want to be here anymore. And that happens a lot in esports. Star pro players, who used to be stars, who don't really have the skill, at least that's what the team thinks most of the time, they say, just terminate my contract. I don't want to be here if I'm not going to be starting, or I'm not going to be useful in a certain way that I want to be, or I'm not going to be playing for the team. So they force him to retire, and that means he's going to be out for a year. And since he's 27, it's most likely he won't come back. At least that's what the team thinks. And eventually, after Yi retires, I think the same day, he finds a new job at a net cafe, and slowly, while he's trying to introduce himself to the game and just try to make a new character, since it is an MMORPG game that it's based on, and since his old character was given to the team, the esports team, he has to start over and start leveling up again, since it is an MMO, and MMOs are really known for you having to level up and not having the level system where if you do PvP, you're going to be on the same level. It's sometimes if you do PvP, if you're level 1 and he's level 30, you're still gonna be level 1 and you're gonna be up against a level 30. So you have to rank up to the max level, or at least close to the max level. And he does continue to level up, and the manager of the cafe shows interest in him and shows that she kind of likes the skill he's at, and that he's impresses her with the skill that obviously he is a pro player, but she does not know who he is, and doesn't actually believe who he is when he explains who he actually is. Jesus Christ, I just said he is so many times. But eventually the manager's friend, who's actually very skilled at the game, comes by and plays, and she's eventually a main character who teams up with Yi. And as Yi starts leveling up, he finds new people who are sure they are lower rank, but they show promise since they are very skilled with their skills, even though they're very low rank and have very good mechanics, and invites them to join his party / guild. And eventually he finds talent, even though it is lower ranks. It is very true that going through the lower ranks, you will find some little gems and little diamonds in the rough, since in the lower ranks some people play casually and are very skilled but don't really want to take it seriously, or they're being held back by a different reason, since other teams don't look at them and don't see the talent in them due to a certain flaw or certain things that they haven't improved on. Instead of helping them improve on it, they just say he's not good enough and they ditch him, which is what Yi does. The opposite. Yi gives them a hand, and then eventually wants to improve them and train them to be the players that they should be, and very talented players that they can be, and maybe even a pro level player, which is eventually what the manager finds out, and eventually does sponsor Yi and his new team. Even though sure it may not be pro level team, it has talent, and since he's found people who can work together well and are skilled enough to play, and which happens in the real world. You can be surprised by how many sponsors are just random people with rich money, or random people with a small business who just want to have an esports team just for the fun of it. And it is sometimes very unsuccessful, since a lot of the sponsors don't know what they're getting into, or a lot of teams aren't just as good as the sponsors think they are, since they don't know a lot about esports. But still, the team forms just like how the anime does it, and the anime, I believe, does a really well thought out job of doing the esports scene. In an anime, they do it well, they represent it well, and eventually when they do get to the big stadiums, they do show out the whole arena, and they do recreate this atmosphere that it is made in an esports arena, which is almost like a real sports arena. I'm gonna say real sports, but almost like a traditional sports arena, where the crowd is getting hyped around just the smallest things in the title, or the combat, or just the skill of the player and how fast their fingers are moving. There's small things that these fans get hyped about, or when something extremely fast happens that they can't really comprehend, they get excited, and which is how real esports is right now. And I believe this anime does a great job of doing it. But on that note, I just believe that this anime should be given a shot by people who like esports, or just people who like anime in general. Sure, it is a Chinese anime, but give it a shot. It will surprise you. It will show you that esports is pretty fun to watch, actually, and that anime can recreate it, and anime can have this genre of esports anime, which is actually really well thought out, and actually shows some emotion between the character and the game, instead of just having the character be the player and having their mind synced, which is how most anime are right now, where the character is the player, or the game is just a side part and you just focus on the main character. You can just make them both important. But on that note, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and hopefully you guys do give this anime a shot. I believe it is great and it can be good, but it's up to y'all to give it a shot. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.